Decentralized social media. With the ongoing account bans on Twitter, with YouTube handing out strikes, with Facebook stock on the decline, could it be that it's time for decentralized social networks to finally step up and challenge the status quo? And if they do, if they become our new way of socializing online, how would they be different? How would they look like? What would we do differently? Those are some of the questions that we're going to try to answer on today's CoinMarketCap episode. My name is Kay, and here at CoinMarketCap, we are on a mission to make crypto accessible all around the world. That's why we love making videos that are packed with information, are easy to understand, and simple to share with your friends and family, especially if they want to learn about decentralized social media. So if you want more than just hype and to actually learn about crypto, make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications to not miss on our new videos, and let's learn together. Decentralized social networks. There's a growing feeling across every generation that social media hasn't really lived up to its promises. Over the years, it has evolved into closed, financially driven, centralized networks that are constantly bombarded by privacy scandals and just endless allegations of censorship. And when it comes to censorship, we're talking about freedom of speech. And that is one way decentralized social networks have the opportunity to do something different. Now, let's be honest, freedom of speech is tricky. Letting people decide what they want to read and hear and who they want to interact with for themselves has some obvious benefits which we can all agree on, like giving a voice to the oppressed, the censored, or the unheard of. Unless you're a dictator, then freedom of speech sucks and definitely overrated. But when everybody has freedom of speech, everybody has freedom of speech. Sometimes, especially when it comes to social media platforms, either it's decentralized or centralized. If you're constantly bombarded by messages and videos, images that are disturbing, that are violent, that you just don't want to see, that may discourage you from actually using that social media platform, right? So a free-for-all where everybody can just do whatever they want doesn't really work. There needs to be some sort of moderation. But that doesn't mean that decentralized social networks need to moderate content in the same way that Twitter or Facebook or YouTube does. The decentralized social networks have an opportunity to come up with some really innovative ways of moderating content which doesn't really rely on a centralized control or a one-fits-all worldview. And I'm really excited to share them with you guys. For example, one decentralized social media platform suggests to randomly select moderation juries who decide whether certain content is acceptable or not after it's been flagged. And we have 5 other decentralized social networks to cover, so make sure to stay until the end of the video. Now, switching gears for a second, on a more technical side, I think you would agree with me that today's social networks aren't really built with best user experience in mind. They're built to keep your attention on the site for as long as possible, to show you as many ads as possible. And on top of it, you can't really move your photos or your status update from, let's say, Twitter to Facebook, nor can you message someone from, let's say, Instagram to WhatsApp, even if they're owned by the same company, which is Meta. But imagine for a second that if sending emails worked like this. If you wanted to email somebody that had a Gmail account, they would also need to have a Gmail address. And if you wanted to email, let's say, somebody with a Yahoo or Outlook account, you couldn't. They would need to have a Gmail account, that's not how it works, but that's how we are used to our social media working. With decentralized social networks, it doesn't have to be that way. Decentralized social networks talk to one another in just the same way that phones in different mobile networks do. In more practical terms, this would mean that you could interact with all your friends who hang out on other social media networks without actually needing to join those networks. And you could easily move from one platform to another without any hassle, taking all your data, all your pictures, all your status updates, and so on. Which would also mean there's no boardroom of directors deciding what counts as free speech, what doesn't, on behalf of the whole world. And lastly, it would be very hard for governments to actually censor their critics and dissidents on decentralized social networks. Now that you have an idea of what decentralized social networks bring to the table, let's take a look at a few of the big players. Now, before we dive in, I want to make it very clear that this is not a complete list, okay? There are many more decentralized social networks that need to be covered, that need to be talked about, and we'll certainly do that in our future videos. So make sure to comment your favorite social media, decentralized social media platform, and we'll cover it in future videos. Now, let's dive in. The Mastodon network is essentially a decentralized version of Twitter, except it's not a single website. Instead, Mastodon is a global network of thousands of community called instances, each of which is run by different people and organizations. Anyone can create and run their own community on Mastodon, just like anyone could build a website using WordPress. Each instance has their own moderators who decide what the rules are for their respective communities, including content that is allowed or not allowed. Users from one community can easily interact with users from another community, or if they want to, they can just stay private. This means that if you don't like the rules of a specific community, you can just leave and join another community without losing all your data. You also have the options of muting or blocking individual users or even entire instances. And in typical social network fashion, you can create your own Mastodon profile through which you can follow and message other users, as well as just share your status updates. Messages on Mastodon are called toots and have a 500 character limit that can include hashtags and images, videos, or even polls. Right now, Mastodon boasts a user base of around 4.5 million users, and we're excited to see where they go next. Next up, we have Minds. Minds is an open source platform designed for content creators to take back their internet freedom, revenue, and social reach. Minds works just like Facebook or any other social media platform, but with a twist. You're actually paid for contributing to the network. Wired once described Minds as the anti-Facebook that pays you for your time. The Mind homepage also looks a lot like Facebook, but just with a different color scheme. And you can post statuses, images, videos, and blog posts, as well as chat to your friends through messages or video. If other users like and share your content, you'll receive some of the platform native Minds tokens. You can then use those tokens to upgrade your channel or boost your content so that it reaches even more users. And if people really like your content, they can donate to your channel directly in dollars, bitcoins, or even Ethereum. But what happens if another Minds user posts something hateful or offensive? Well, the platform, it doesn't ban hateful speech outright, arguing that deplatforming individuals only sends people to darker and more extreme parts of the web. Instead, Minds hopes that civil discourse on its platform will contribute to de-radicalization of extremist views. Fortunately, Minds has a backup plan just in case civil discourse doesn't go according to plan, called content juries. Every time content is flagged, a jury of 12 random users are selected to decide whether the content should be allowed to stay up or not. They get to make that decision, and that decision is final. Next up, we're looking at Steem. Steem is a social blockchain purposely designed for app builders who want to create social and content-focused applications. Anyone who wants to build on Steem doesn't have to go through the trouble of creating their own blockchain from scratch. The Steem blockchain offers near instant and feeless transactions, and the developers claim that it handles more transactions than Bitcoin and Ethereum combined. But Steem is probably best known as the blockchain supporting Steemit, a decentralized social content and blogging app where you can earn money for contributing. Steemit was actually the first blogging platform to use crypto as its reward mechanism. Just like other decentralized social networks we already covered, Steem wants content creators to be the main beneficiaries of the content that they create, rather than shareholders. And so far, the 1.2 million registered users have shared nearly 60 million for their contributions to the platform. More than 300 social apps have already launched through Steem, and one of them is actually DTube, short for Decentralized Tube. DTube is a popular YouTube alternative. On DTube, you can earn rewards by posting videos, curating playlists and collections, and upvoting enjoyable content. whatever you deem enjoyable to be. The DTube platform has daily pool of reward tokens, which are allocated to the most liked content creators and curators of the day. And while DTube isn't a social network like Facebook or Twitter, you can still interact with other users and content creators all over the world. So how is DTube different from YouTube? First of all, DTube doesn't have any ad, and they also have very liberal censorship rules. The only way your videos can be censored is if other users downvote them. Also, there aren't many recommended lists which have been worked out by an algorithm or through paid ads. Instead, the DTube community collectively decides which videos are suggested to other users by upvoting and downvoting them. Next up, we have Audius, one of the leading decentralized streaming platforms with more than 6 million monthly users. Audius is a blockchain-based music streaming platform built to fairly reward artists and give unsigned musicians a way to publish their music, grow their following, and interact with their fan base without ever needing to sign a record deal. As you would expect, all uploaded music is stored on the blockchain forever, which helps artists protect their intellectual property. And while popular streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music focus on streaming music alone, Audius offers both music streaming and social networking elements, so that artists can interact with their fans directly as well as sell their music. Also, artists can offer exclusive access to their content as well as limited edition NFT products to open up some new revenue streams. And if that wasn't enough, artists can even earn extra revenue if their tracks make into the top 5 weekly trending tracks or playlists. Unsurprisingly, Audius has attracted attention from household names including Katy Perry, Jason Derulo, and was recently even praised by Rolling Stones magazine. Subsocial is like a decentralized Reddit or Medium where you can start your own community called a space, which you can then monetize, customize, and moderate as you see fit. Right now, there are more than 5,000 spaces up and running, and the Subsocial ecosystem is designed around social finance, or SoFi, and hopes to eventually become the underlying architecture which all future decentralized social networks are built upon. And just like you would on Facebook or Twitter, you can create your own profile on Subsocial which goes with you everywhere through the entire network, and potentially other parachains one day. You can also share any kind of content that you like on your profile, including text and images, videos, and you can tip content creators for posting interesting or funny content. Other users can also tip you for the content that you post, as well as for the comments or replies that you leave. The Subsocial testnet is up and running, and it looks very, very impressive. So are Minds or Mastodon the next Facebook or Twitter? No. They're different, and that's the whole point here, offering us something that we have not seen for a very long time. An opportunity to use social media platforms as they were meant to be used to actually socialize, have civilized discord. With that said, we have to be realistic. MySpace didn't disappear in just one day. In fact, I think it's still online. It's going to take time before all your friends are on decentralized social networks, but it all starts with you taking the first step, choosing a decentralized social network that speaks to you, speaks to your values, and taking that leap of faith, and then inviting your friends, and then your friends inviting more friends. But it all starts with you.